We began with, my big supporters, as I've mentioned before, are Sharon and Will, and they sell my books here. And so when I posted on Facebook that my third book was coming out, as soon as I walked in the door, they said, "Can we do the book launch?" And I said, "Sure." Testing. Everyone hear that okay? They then began to talk about wine and food and music, and it started to sound pretty impressive for just me. My name is Alyce Elmore, and I'd like to welcome everyone to our, hopefully not last, but definitely our first Gobbledygook and Gibberish Art Festival. Both Will and his mother Sharon are big supporters not only of the community, but of the artists in the community.
Whenever somebody in the community does something, we try and get involved. And Alyce has been coming in and showing us her books and letting us read them before she's got them published and give all sorts of feedback.
The reason there is a third book, and there will be a fourth, fifth, and sixth book, is because of Sharon. If you think I should have wound it all up in the third book, it's her fault. They've hired a number of people who are writers to work here. So it was an easy step to go from, oh, let's have a book launch, to, no, let's have an art fair.
We're only going to have Alyce here, and now we've got poets, and we've got the SES, and we've got other people.
We knew it would be small today, but we also think that everyone's having such a good time that there's a good chance they'll come back next year and bring a friend. Today we're celebrating the launch of my new book, For Where There Are Harps. Now, for those of you who aren't familiar with the series, I'll give you a little background. The books are a post-apocalyptic series which starts off with a pandemic in which all adult males die. There's no other way to put it. And the young men who survive the pandemic, they look healthy, and everyone thinks that's a wonderful thing, and society claws its way back over a 20-year transition period. But halfway through the transition, they realize something strange is going on with boys. They continue to die at 20. When I am selling the book to people, especially if a couple walks up to me, I usually start with, yeah, I kill off all the men, and the women go, I'll buy it, and the guy takes 2 steps backwards. But actually, it's a very sympathetic view at how young people feel today. One of the early readers is a friend of mine he's one of these big ex-SAS guys, and he came back and he said, oh my God, that's how I feel. As a 60-year-old male, I feel invisible. He said it's so important with young men that they don't have these mentors that they used to have. A lot of the jobs that they used to do have disappeared. So on the surface, it seems like it's a very feminist novel, and there are definitely aspects of that. But I think the more important message is, how do we deal with a changing environment? The people we count on telling us how to react are actually almost obsolete. What this does is it changes society. And so the male entitlement no longer applies, because they don't live long enough for us to want to educate them or give them positions of power. And so women have basically taken over the role. In the third book, it gets into real heavy moral issues, and I'm often asked about, where is the morality? And I think that's a big question today. Who do we believe? Why do we believe them? Do our views support the general community? Or, should I go against that because the general community is not supportive of my views? These are real important issues, and as a writer, I don't feel I have to answer them. I feel I just have to give you the wherewithal to weigh it up correctly.
They make you think. Yeah, I like a book that makes you think. When they read the first book and you try and tell them what it's about, they think, oh, it's a woman hater killing off men, but it's not. They're not at all like that. She's just showing how society would change if women all of a sudden became in charge.
In the latest book, I ran it through some AI software to see if it agreed with me about what I'd written. It came back and it said, well, yes, this will be popular with women. It will probably be popular with younger women, which actually surprised me. At Coons, this was a couple years back, there was this guy sort of hulking inside the marquee, and we got to talking, and he was the head of the Tough Guy Book Club. And so I started talking to him about some of these male issues. They really resonated with him because I have so many different characters in this book, and every character there's like 7 storylines all intertwining. So different people find different characters that they relate to. The older men typically relate to Steve, the survivor who shouldn't exist and becomes sort of the leader of the younger men. Younger men, particularly in that 17, 18, 19-year-old, they really relate to the 3 young boys who each in their own way must come to grips with, I'm going to die at 20. You know, and it's not a new question. If you think about World War I, World War II, every war that we've had since, who goes on the front lines? And who stays back and has to put it all together? Their girlfriends, their mothers, their wives. All right, so it's actually quite a relevant issue. I would love for more men to pick up books, not just mine, but books by women. We have more women writers today than male writers. We have more women readers than male readers. And yet the majority of critical analyses are written about men's books. We are not simply readers of romance novels. We have a much broader scope of interest. We should not allow ourselves to be put into that niche. Ooh, that was very feminist, wasn't it?
It was really good. All right, so my other question is, do you have a bucket list?
On life?
Yeah.
Yes, I do.
All right, tell me what's on it. We'll put it on here.
Ooh.
All right, tell me one thing. The best thing?
I would also like to encourage everyone to walk around and say hello to the other artists who are here. And I'm going to go through a few of them if you haven't met them already. We have Amanda, who's here with her book on something that I think is important to all of us, certainly something we all have to learn to deal with, and that's how we deal with death and the loss of loved ones. We have the people from Red Edge Wines. The first 2 books, I would often meet readers who would come in here, and I remember one woman said, the books are nice, but I wish you would write about Heathcote. I had a character who's having a bottle of wine. Why can't that bottle of wine be from a Heathcote winery? I'd also like to mention John Daniels because he's a very unique artist. He paints his flora and fauna on gum leaves. Sharon, who's sitting next to John, when she's not working for the MacIver Times, she also runs a writers group here in Heathcote. And if you haven't stopped by her booth, take a look. She's put together a magazine, or actually several magazines of short stories by local writers. And the way she funds her literature is by making and selling baby booties. And we can never have too many baby booties, that's for sure. They're gorgeous. Next to Sharon, we have Frank Prem.
Memoir. Growing up, professionally I was a psychiatric nurse.
What can I say about Frank?
Bushfire and drought, climate change and global warming. First World War. This is a picture poetry book. Some literary interpretation, some books that I've dug the text up out of the public domain.
Poet extraordinaire.
Outside toilets or a love story. An adolescent love story.
Why not? Yeah.
Outdoor toilets, all right.
Writes on every subject imaginable. I love his book, Small Town Kid.
I'll be reading from this book a little bit later on when I do a half an hour. It's a memoir of growing up in small town country Victoria back in the 1960s and 1970s, which is when I was a boy. Outdoor toilets and the wide open spaces and cracker nights and things that had disappeared by the middle of the 1990s. And my children, when I had them and they were of an age, wouldn't believe my story.
How old are your children?
Now?
Yeah. Good.
I'm an old fart. They're pretty old. They're pretty old. They're either about representing what I've done or they're about expanding the skills that I have so that I can make a better book next time.
A lot of people think that the only way you can become a writer is to get a traditional publisher. And that door is being closed dramatically as more and more publishing firms, small publishing firms, are being swallowed up by big publishing firms who really only want to print what they think is going to be a big market seller. And we're really missing out then on some of the little stories that people tell.
It was in the context of Clunes, Booktown, and I can't remember exactly how we got in touch with each other initially, but Alyce was going to have a stall and she was looking for someone to share with her. And so we negotiated on Facebook and met up at Clunes in our stall, selling books, talking to people, you know, trapping passers-by. Come on, don't go past. Let us tell you the story.
Yeah, thrillers are lovely, the big name writers, so to speak, but they're only a small number of voices, and there's so many more voices. So something like this, where writers, and certainly at Clunes, where writers can talk with their readers and tell them about their books. No publisher is going to do that for you, all right? You have to do it for yourself.
I've got great freedom. I'm doing a book because it's the next thing to finish, to produce my own work as frequently as I like, not to have to ask anyone or get their okay for something, sometimes to my cost. I would do better at times if I had external oversight, but it's a small price to pay. And I can follow my ideas. 1,000,000 miles an hour. Not fast enough, but my breath was taken away. I was drawn down the road, descending like a bullet from the barrel of my rifle, drawn to ride to sweet Maureen.
I work at the IGA, and so you meet all the locals every day. They come in, so yeah, it's a big part of the community. Yeah, it's a lovely community actually.
Bunjil Farm here, beautiful place out in the country. The snow cones, thank you Charlie for bringing the snow cones. And you didn't tell me you were bringing fairy floss, how lovely. And the SES, they are the people that we rely on in our community. We talked a little bit earlier about being in a rural area where people do know each other and they look after each other. And so when you do something like this, not everybody is on a first name basis with everyone close. We probably all recognize each other from the local store. It is an opportunity to see another side of a lot of the people, that artistic side. But like I said, I can't say enough about the people who, when there's a disaster here, everyone kicks in, everyone does their bit. Hi Sandra, and we have more poets showing up by the minute.
Love the people in Heathcote. If we don't have arts and sports in a small community, we have nothing. The footy brings people in, so does arts. When you have an art thing in, it brings the people in. And Heathcote is really good for that.
I walked up to her and I asked her if she wanted to dance. She looked awful nice.
If you're starting from scratch, you'll need a quantum singularity and up to 13.8 billion years. Plan ahead.
I am just so thrilled to discover how many friends I have that support me. It's really, you don't stop to think about it, right? You don't go, well, I have at least 3 friends I can think of. And then you look around and you go, some of these people came a very long distance, an hour or 2 hours to come and celebrate with me, and I just feel so good about that.
That's how he got his name, and he knew it because when he called, he came. Well, most times.
Just what to do. So I whispered I love you.
Golfing extraordinaire, poet beyond belief. What else can I say about you? Karaoke singer, I forgot about that. Okay.
If you listen very closely, you may hear the gentle snorting as 1,000 Brumby spirits graze.
Everyone that we work with at Golden Wing gets to leave a little signature in the book. You can write a little message to someone else, inspo, so it marks our journey just as well as your journey.
Yep. Would you like me to put it on that page?
You're more than welcome to.
When you have your open house, we'll educate those who want to be educated. We accept that there are constraints. It's lovely to sell books. They also absolutely want to sell books. But to know that people care about you as a person, you can't place that anywhere.